Hello everyone, how are you today? My name is Olympiutuns and today I will be your host for this live webinar. Please take a quick moment, a short moment to read this disclaimer before we get started. And also guys, if you have any questions, you can type them down into the chat. Please guys, also confirm if you can hear me into the chat so we can start. Anyone? So please confirm that you can hear me into the chat. Please guys. Okay, thanks. Thank you very much. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the US dollar. And let's take a look here on the US dollar index. As you can see here on the daily chart, the US dollar index was trapped within a falling wedge, within a major falling wedge. As you can see here, the price has escaped from this reversal pattern. It has retested the downtrend line, the upside line, and now is moving higher, is developing a bullish reversal here. As the price, it has managed to jump above 91.58 former high, also above 92.54 resistance level. The support has turned into a resistance. The price has jumped right above this resistance area, confirmed that the dollar index could continue to increase in the upcoming period. So the US dollar could continue to increase versus the other major currencies, versus the euro, versus the pound, versus the yen, Canadian dollar, versus the New Zealand dollar, also versus the Australian dollar, versus the Swiss franc, as long as the dollar index continues to increase. Okay, so if we'll measure this falling wedge pattern, the dollar index may increase, and technically it is somehow expected to increase, and it could approach this retracement level, 61.8% retracement level, maybe the 98 psychological level in the upcoming period. Okay, so the dollar index is strongly bullish in the short term. That's why the US dollar continues to increase versus the euro. Let's take a look also on the euro versus the US dollar. You should know that we have a strong negative correlation between the US dollar index with the euro versus the US dollar. So when the US dollar index increases, the pair drops. As you can see here, the price, the pair euro versus the US dollar has turned to the downside. I've drawn here a major descending pitchfork, 1, 2, 3. I've selected these pivot points. I've drawn a descending pitchfork to catch this sell-off, this downside movement into the short term. In the short term, you can see here that the price has decreased, has reached the medium line. We had a small rebound here. We had only a false breakout here above R1, also above this 50% Fibonacci line, another sell-off, because the US dollar index has continued to increase. Here a rebound, retests here, the medium line retest, also the 23.6 retracement level retest, and then the current sell-off. So the pair drops because the US dollar index continues to increase, and if the dollar index continues to increase, as I've told you earlier, if the index will continue to increase, maybe to approach the R3, the 38.2 retracement level, then the euro versus the US dollar may drop further. You can see here that the price has registered here a valid breakdown below S2, this first static support, and the immediate target will be here at 38.2 retracement level. If the price will close below it, test, retest, then it could continue to decrease, and we may have an important downside target here at this lower medium line of the descending pitchfork. Lower medium line, medium line. Okay, so as long as the price will be traded below this medium line, the price could be attracted by this lower medium line in the end. Okay, and if the price will drop and if it will stabilize right below 38.2, then it could continue to drop towards the lower medium line in the upcoming period. Okay, so the outlook is bearish, and euro versus the US dollar could continue to drop in the upcoming period. We could draw also here a small pitchfork, descending pitchfork, 1, 2, 3. So as long as the price will continue to be traded right below this medium line of this minor descending pitchfork, the bias will be bearish and the pair could continue to drop. Okay, let's continue with the GBP versus the US dollar. Also guys, if you have any questions, you can type them down into the chat, and I will take a few minutes at the end of the webinar to answer to some of our questions. So please guys, if you have any questions. Okay, the pound versus the US dollar, it was trapped within an up channel. The price has registered here a breakdown through the uptrend line, signaling that the uptrend could be over, and that the price could decrease in the upcoming period. The price could develop a corrective phase. Okay, so if we'll take a look here on the 4-hour chart, you can see the breakdown here. The price has found support, strong support on the S1, 1.3675. It has rebounded in the short term. It has come back higher, come back to retest the broken uptrend line before dropping deeper again. I will delete this pitchfork, this minor pitchfork, for a better view here. Okay, so the price failed to stabilize right above the pivot point, above 1.3776. It has retested this pivot point, and now it has resumed, it has extended its sell-off after retesting this broken uptrend line. Okay, so now the pound, the British pound versus the US dollar moves down within a down channel, as you can see here. So as long as the price will continue to stay, as long as will be traded below this downtrend line, the bias will be bearish and the pair could continue to drop within this new pattern. Okay, so in the short term, the first downside target will be here at the S1, 1.3675. A bearish closure, if the price will drop below it, below this S1, if it will close right below this static support, if it will come back maybe to retest this level, then we may have a confirmation that the pair could continue to drop maybe towards S2, towards this downside line channel support in the upcoming period. Okay, so here we'll get a confirmation if the price will drop below S1. If it will close below it, retest, then it will continue to drop in the short term towards S2, 1.3569, towards the downside line, sorry. Okay, so a new lower low here, if the price will close right below this former low, below 1.3670, also maybe below 38.2 retracement level, then we can get a confirmation that GBP, the British pound versus the US dollar, this currency pair could develop a strong corrective phase in the upcoming period. So we'll have an important drop here also if the dollar index will continue to increase, and as long as the price will stay right below this downtrend line. Okay, so it was only a temporary rebound. The price has retested the broken uptrend line, confirming this breakout, this breakdown. So a new lower low here, value breakdown below S1 could confirm a further drop. Let's move on and let's talk about the US dollar versus the Japanese yen. The pair is strongly bullish, as you can see here. One moment, guys, and you can see here that the price is moving upwards after breaking above this downtrend line. Okay, and now very important, the current breakout above 109.85, this level represented an important resistance, static resistance. As you can see, we had a former higher high here. So if the price will close above it, maybe if it will come back down, test and retest, if it will stabilize right above this upper medium line of the ascending pitchfork, so minor consolidation here, test, retest, or maybe false breakdowns here below 109.86, it could confirm a further increase. Also, you should know that the US dollar versus the Japanese yen could continue to increase as long as the US dollar index continues to increase and as long as the Nikkei, the Japanese stock market index, continues to increase. Okay, one moment here. So On the 4-hour chart, you can see that we had a small consolidation here. The price was trapped within a narrow range. The breakout from this range also above the pivot point. It has signaled a further increase in the short term. The price has reached this upper medium line. It has registered an aggressive breakout. Now is traded above R1 110.21. So as long as the price stays above R1, above this upper medium line, above this former resistance, static resistance, the pair could continue to increase, and it could approach R2 110.55. This could be used as a first upside target, immediate target. And personally, I believe that only a drop below this static support now, 109.85, a drop below this upper medium line stabilization could invalidate a further increase. But as I've told you, as long as the US dollar index continues to increase, this pair could continue to increase and could approach and reach fresh new highs. Okay. Let's continue and let's talk about US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. Here we may have a bullish reversal. As you can see on the daily chart, the price has jumped above the downtrend line. Okay, and we could consider this pattern, this formation, to be a falling wedge pattern, a reversal pattern, but we still need confirmation before going along here on this pair. Let's go back to the 4-hour chart. So the price has jumped. Let's delete this pitchfork for now. So the price has jumped above the downtrend line. It has retested the broken line here, and now is struggling, is fighting hard to take out this immediate upside obstacle resistance represented by the R1 1.2642. So if the price will close above it, if it will stabilize here above this static resistance, above today's high, above 1.2647, so a bullish closure above today's high could confirm a further increase in the short term. Okay, let's draw the pitchfork again. So I've selected 3 pivot points. Yes, we will talk about GBP versus the Canadian dollar later. Thanks for your question, for your request. Yes, the trade could be still open, depends on your broker. Okay, let's continue here. So the medium line of the ascending pitchfork represents an important immediate resistance. Okay, so if the price will register a valid breakout here above R1 and also above the medium line. If the price will close above it, maybe several tests, retests, then it could continue higher. And as you can see here, the price has increased, it has reached the medium line. It has failed to drop below the pivot point or to approach again the lower medium line, signaling that we have strong buyers in the short term. Okay, so as long as the price continues to stay right below R1 or near R1, near the medium line, then we may have an upside breakout, a valid breakout here in the end, and the pair could continue higher. Okay, and the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar, this pair could continue higher as long as the US dollar index will continue to increase. Okay, so if the index will continue to increase, then we may have here a valid breakout and then an upside continuation. Okay, so the price has validated here the breakout, and here with a valid breakout above the medium line could confirm a further increase, but we'll have a major increase, a strong upside movement, only if the price will have enough bullish energy to take this out, 1.2747. So if the price will jump above these former highs, if it will register a new higher high here, okay, so a valid breakout here, continuation, and if it will make a valid breakout here, if it will jump above this level, maybe come back down to test and retest, then it will continue to increase within this ascending pitchfork, and if it will print a strong upside movement within this pitchfork. Okay, personally I believe that the bias will remain bullish as long as the price will be traded within this ascending pitchfork. Personally, I believe that only a drop right below this lower medium line, also below this downtrend line, could invalidate a potential further increase in the upcoming period. We'll need confirmation here, and if we'll get confirmation here, we will send you the signals within the Telegram group, only for the VIP. Okay, let's continue. We'll talk about oil as well, about US oil. Okay, let's talk a little also about the US dollar versus the Swiss franc. We had an important breakout here, as you can see, above 0.9295. The price failed here to confirm a deeper drop. Okay, so this engulfing here, bullish engulfing, followed by these bullish candles, signals that the pair could continue to increase in the upcoming period. Okay, so the price could stabilize also above R3, this resistance 0.9398. This could represent a new upside signal confirmation. So if the price will stabilize right above this level, then it could continue to increase. Okay, let's draw here a Fibonacci retracement. So The immediate upside target will be here at 0.9463, the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement. But as I've told you, the price has confirmed here a further increase in the short term. Okay, so if you are long here on the US dollar versus the Swiss franc, you can hide your stop loss right below these former lows and keep this position open. Okay, Australian dollar versus the US dollar. We'll talk about the oil as well, also about the GBP versus the Canadian dollar. Also, I'll try to answer to all of your questions. Okay, we'll take a few minutes at the end of this 45 minutes webinar to answer to the questions. Okay, let's continue here. Australian dollar versus the US dollar. We had here, as you can see, a head and shoulders pattern. The price has dropped right below these two uptrend lines, below this potential neckline. It has dropped here as much as 0.7563. It has registered this rebound, temporary rebound, to test and retest the broken uptrend line, also the pivot point, and now is going down again. So personally, I believe that as long as the price continues to stay right below this downtrend line, the bias will be bearish and the Australian dollar versus the US dollar could continue to drop. We'll get a confirmation that this pair will continue to drop if the pair will drop, close and stabilize right below 0.7563 and also below S1. So a drop here, a new lower low, a bearish closure right below this former low could confirm a further drop. And as you can see here, this head and shoulders pattern has announced, has signaled a potential strong drop in the upcoming weeks. Okay, but we need a confirmation here if the price will drop and if it will close and stabilize, if it will register a new lower low here, then it could continue to drop towards 50% Fibonacci retracement, 61.8, but we need a confirmation first. Okay, we could draw here also a down channel. So as long as the price will continue to be traded right under this downtrend line, the bias could be bearish and we could still search for short opportunities. Okay, the New Zealand dollar. Here we have a head and shoulders pattern as well. Breakout here, breakdown through the uptrend line, retest here, a retest of the 23.6 retracement level, also the medium line retest, an aggressive breakdown through the neckline, through the 38.2 retracement level, activating, validating this reversal pattern. Okay, so we had an aggressive drop here. The rebound, the bounce back is natural, normal. The price has retested this lower medium line, and now it could drop again if it will stabilize right below the 50% retracement level. Okay, so here if we'll have a test retest, maybe a new retest here at the lower medium line, the price could continue to drop in the short term. So this pattern has signaled a potential deeper drop here as well. The pair may continue to drop as long as the price stays below this downtrend line and as long as the US dollar index continues to increase. Okay, let's talk about gold, and we'll talk about the oil as well. Also, I'll try to answer to all of your questions. So as you can see here, the price is trapped within a descending pitchfork between these two inside sliding parallel lines. So we have a down channel here, and let's take a look here. The price has increased a little after a massive drop. It has dropped right below this uptrend line, signaling a potential drop. It has moved sideways in a narrow range here, retesting this sliding line, also the pivot point. And yesterday's aggressive drop below the S1, below 1719, has signaled that we may have a further drop in the short term. Okay, the next downside target will be represented here by 1676. So it remains to see how the price will react here when it will reach this static support. The yellow metal dropped aggressively in the short term because the US dollar has continued to increase versus its rivals, versus the euro, versus the pound, versus the Canadian dollar, versus the yen, versus the Swiss franc. So as long as the US dollar will continue to increase, the gold price, the price of gold may drop further. But we cannot exclude a temporary rebound here from this static support. Okay, so we had an aggressive drop, an aggressive sell-off. The price could turn back to test and retest maybe the immediate resistance levels, former support levels, before dropping deeper. Or if it will drop below this level, below 1676, if it will stabilize below it, test retests, then it could continue to drop without any rebound. Okay, so here the perspective, the outlook is bearish, and the price of gold could continue to drop if the US dollar will continue to increase versus the other major currencies. Okay, let's take a look here on the US oil. One moment. Let's delete these two pitchforks. So as you can see here, we had a major increase, an important increase since last year on the US oil, and the price has reached here a static resistance area. Okay, so this minor drop is normal, is natural in the short term, okay? But let's go back to the 4-hour chart. And as you can see here, the price failed here to stabilize right below 23.6 retracement level. It has found support here around 58.04. It has increased. Now it has retested the pivot point, and as long as it stays right above this pivot point, and right above 23.6 level, then it could continue to increase in the short term, okay? Personally, I would like to see here also a breakout here above this minor downtrend line, okay, to get a confirmation. And also, if the price jumps above this downtrend line, above 62.01, maybe a valid breakout here above R1 will really get a confirmation that the US oil will continue to increase, okay? It could still continue to increase also after registering all these false breakdowns here below this lower medium line, okay? Medium line, upper medium line, one moment. Okay, so the price has registered only false breakdowns here below this lower medium line, below the S1. That's why the US oil, it is somehow expected to increase in the short term. We could draw another pitchfork here, and you can see that the price, let's select another color, so you can see that the price is trapped within this minor ascending pitchfork. It has reached the medium line, it has come back to test and retest the lower medium line. So as long as it stays right above the pivot point, above the 23.6 retracement level, also as long as it stays within this ascending pitchfork, it could continue to increase. But as I said earlier, personally, I would like to see here a breakout above R1, 62.78, above this downtrend line, above the medium line, to get a real confirmation that the US oil will continue to increase in the upcoming period, okay? Okay, let's talk about GBP versus the Canadian dollar. I had a question. Unfortunately, the price failed here to stabilize right above the medium line, and now is traded right above this 50% Fibonacci line, okay? And we had a stop loss at 1.73 psychological level. It depends on your broker, because this pair has reached this stop loss on some of your brokerage companies, but as long as it stays above this Fibonacci line, it could still come back higher, it could still increase. Okay, so the bias remains bullish here, as long as the price maybe will remain above this pivot point. The current drop could be only a temporary drop, a minor drop, before the pair jumps higher again. Okay, so technically the price has escaped from this down channel. It has jumped right above this former high, and that's why I've considered yesterday to place a bullish signal, a buying signal. Okay, so as long as the price stays above the pivot point, above 1.73 psychological level, this long scenario could be valid. Okay, okay, if you have any questions, any suggestions, I will try to answer to your questions. So yes, I'm considering the daily pivots. Personally, I like to use the price action, the Andrew's pitchfork tool, also fundamentals, also pivot points for identifying trading opportunities. So yes, I'm using pivots. Okay, let's take a look on the US. Okay, just a moment. So from my viewpoint, the US 500 is still bullish. Despite any temporary drop, but the index will continue to increase if it will jump and register a new higher high here. So if the price will jump above this former high here, above 3,989, then it could continue higher, it could continue to increase, and maybe if it will drop One moment. If it will drop here below this former low, below the pivot point, it could develop a temporary decline in the short term. I believe we already have a sell stop here on this index. So if the price will drop below this level, below this former low, a bearish closure, maybe a valid breakdown here below 3,934, this pivot point, then it could drop in the short term. But as I've told you, personally I believe that this index is still bullish, and if it will jump above these former highs, then it could continue to increase. Okay, let's take another question. This will be the last question. Because the time is up, the time is over. Okay, so the pound versus the Japanese yen, the perspective, the outlook is still bullish. As you can see here, the price has registered a temporary drop. It will be very important to see what will really happen on the Nikkei stock index. As you can see here, I've drawn a descending pitchfork. The price failed to reach the medium line, signaling a potential increase towards the upper medium line. The price has jumped above it, above this upper medium line. Okay, and let's draw here a sliding parallel line. Okay, so this sliding line represents a dynamic resistance, and as you can see here on the 4-hour chart, the price has registered only a false breakout here above it. Okay, and now is going back down, and it could approach the upper medium line again in the short term. Okay, so only a valid breakout here above this line, above this sliding parallel line, could confirm a potential further increase. Also a new higher high here. If the price will jump and close above this former high, above today's high, then we could get a confirmation that this pair will continue to increase. Let's take a look on the Nikkei. Let's take a quick look on the Nikkei. So the GBP, the pound versus the Japanese yen drops as the Nikkei has decreased a little as well in the short term. It has developed here a flag, a symmetrical triangle, and very important here, if the index will continue to increase, if it will register an upside breakout here, and if it will continue to increase, then the Japanese yen may drop, may depreciate versus the other currencies. Okay, and only a potential drop here could bring an appreciation on the Japanese yen. Okay, so the pound versus the Japanese yen could drop further if the index will continue to drop, if the price will register here a downside breakout from this pattern, and maybe if it will register a value breakdown here below this pivot point. So if it will drop right below this pivot point, below this former low, it could develop a strong downside movement, a strong sell-off, and then the GBP versus the Japanese yen could continue to drop. Okay guys, unfortunately we didn't open trades today, but I hope that in the upcoming webinars we'll have more time and we'll open trades as well during the webinar, only for you guys, only for those who are in the VIP group only. So I'm expecting you to come back and to join me for another webinar next Tuesday at the same time, and we will talk about the Forex pairs, index, commodities, maybe about cryptocurrencies, and we'll try to find also, it was my first webinar here at Learn to Trade, so in my upcoming webinars I will try to open trades, live trades during the webinars, so please join me next week for another webinar. Don't forget to visit our website Learn to Trade, also our YouTube channel. My name is Olympiutuns. Thanks for having you here today, and see you next week for a new webinar on Tuesday at 4 p.m. UK time. Bye bye guys. I will post this webinar